Getting into the good graces of the Chrisley family hasn't been easy for Emmy Metters, as her fiancé Chase doesn't have a good track record when it comes to dating. Often referred to as a player by fans, many on the outside looking in admitted they were a bit baffled by the relationship, as they thought Emmy Metters was just way too good for Chase. On her podcast, Savannah even admitted the family agreed in worrying Emmy was too good for Chase. Emmy Metters shared on Savannah's podcast that she started talking to Chase just before the COVID pandemic. Other than one small but nasty breakup, she recalls being hooked to his hip otherwise. Touching on the breakup, Emmy recalls them being split up for a few months. Savannah was quick to jump in, noting that it wasn't anything close to a couple of months and they only split for a few weeks. Emmy put her hand on her chest as she clarified the breakup certainly felt like it lasted for months. The turning point when Chase's family accepted Emmy. Toward the end of her podcast episode, Savannah Chrisley opened up about the real turning point when the family someone that was just too good for him. When the family stayed in hotel rooms during the trial, she recalls Emmy driving from being with her parents to the hotel room to give the Chrisley family support. Emmy Metters kept the hotel stocked with food and snacks. She also left Bible verses around to keep their spirits high. Savannah admits there was so much going on at the time that Emmy was underappreciated. Looking at it now, however, Savannah says this was the turning point when she realized, wow, this girl really loves her brother Chase. Early on in the podcast episode, Savannah discussed her brother's poor track record and noted that she's so protective of her brother she nearly put her hands on one of his girlfriends. Turns out, a member of the production team stepped in to prevent Savannah Chrisley from clobbering Chase's flavor of the moment. Savannah and Emmy acknowledged there was certainly a disconnect between them early on. It was so noticeable on the show that Savannah was blasted for being mean to Emmy. On the podcast, the girls clarified they just weren't that close and Chase had a way of wedging himself in the middle and causing problems. Now, Savannah has a deep love for Emmy Metters and knows she only wants what is best for her brother Chase. Savannah Chrisley has never been one to hold her tongue, but in a surprising twist, the outspoken reality star is opening up about a moment of reflection and regret. In a heartfelt confession during a recent episode of her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, the 26-year-old admitted to initially judging her brother Chase's fiancée, Emmy Metters, and shared how she has since realized she was wrong. The revelation came during a candid discussion about family dynamics, forgiveness, and personal growth. For a family that has lived much of their lives in the public eye, Savannah's vulnerability struck a chord with fans who praised her honesty. The initial judgment. Savannah began by setting the stage, and quote, when Chase first introduced us to Emmy, I had my reservations and quote, she admitted. And quote, I'm protective of my family, especially my brothers. I wasn't sure if she was the right fit for Chase or for us as a family, and quote. From the start, Savannah found herself scrutinizing Emmy. And quote, I think I let my own insecurities and past experiences cloud my judgment and quote, Savannah explained. And quote, it wasn't that Emmy did anything wrong, it was more about me projecting my fears and doubts onto her, and quote. As Savannah revealed, part of her apprehension stemmed from her own struggles with trust and relationships. And quote, I've been hurt before, Her protective instincts, while well-intentioned, led to tension between her and Emmy. I would question her motives, her actions, even little things like how she interacted with our family, Savannah said, shaking her head. It was unfair. Emmy's grace and patience. Despite the unspoken tension, Emmy Metters handled the situation with grace. Looking back, Emmy never gave me a reason to doubt her, Savannah admitted. She was kind, patient, and always tried to make an effort with me, even when I wasn't the easiest to deal with. Savannah shared how Emmy's unwavering kindness began to chip away at her defenses. There were moments when I thought, wow, this girl is really trying, and here I am being cold or distant. It made me take a hard look at myself. One turning point came during a family gathering when Emmy went out of her way to comfort Savannah during a stressful moment. I was having a rough day, and Emmy could have easily stayed out of it. But instead, she came up to me, offered support, and just listened. That's when I started to see her differently. A humbling wake-up call. Savannah's epiphany didn't happen overnight. It took time, self-reflection, and a pivotal conversation with her brother Chase. Chase called me out one day, Savannah revealed. He said, "Savannah, I love you, but you've got to stop. Emmy doesn't deserve this, and you're pushing her away." Hearing that from Chase hit me hard because I realized I wasn't just affecting my relationship with Emmy, I was affecting theirs too. This wake-up call forced Savannah to confront her behavior. I had to ask myself why I was being so critical. And the truth is, it wasn't about Emmy. It was about me. My insecurities, my fears, my need to control situations, I was projecting all of that onto her. The apology. In a moment of humility, Savannah decided to make things right. I pulled Emmy aside and told her everything, she shared. I apologized for judging her, for not giving her a fair chance, and for letting my own issues get in the way. According to Savannah, Emmy's response was nothing short of remarkable. She hugged me and said, "I understand. We all have our struggles. Thank you for telling me." That's when I knew she was someone special, not just for Chase, but for all of us. Building a stronger bond. Since that heartfelt conversation, Savannah and Emmy have worked on building a genuine bond. It's still a work in progress, Savannah admitted. But now, I see Emmy for who she truly is, a kind, loving person who makes my brother happy. Savannah shared that their relationship has grown stronger through shared experiences and open communication. We've had some deep talks, and I've learned so much about her. She's not just Chase's fiancée, she's become a friend. One of the biggest lessons Savannah has learned from this experience is the importance of self-awareness and humility. It's not easy to admit when you're wrong, but it's necessary if you want to grow, she said. A message to fans. Savannah's confession resonated deeply with her audience, many of whom applauded her for her honesty and willingness to own up to her mistakes. "I hope my story helps others take a step back and reflect on their own judgments," Savannah said. "We're all human, and we all make mistakes. What matters is how we move forward." Savannah also emphasized the importance of giving people a chance. You never really know someone's heart until you take the time to get to know them. Emmy taught me that, and I'll forever be grateful.